Hello everyone and welcome to day 9 of Streak Daily Initiative, your daily dose for UPSC preparation, and I hope that your schedule is going on track. You're able to finish the syllabus that we are giving you day by day, and you are also attempting both mains and prelims question. So topic for today was pretty comprehensive, I think, and it is important topic because we've got topics like preamble, we've got topics like salient features of Indian constitution, and finally we've got topics like union and its territory and citizenship. So a lot of important topics both from prelims and mains point of view. So let us look at what all questions we had for today from mains point of view. So the first question here is, let us this is talking about actually preamble. So the question is, bring out the philosophy of Indian polity as enshrined in the preamble of Indian constitution. Pretty direct, I think, this question is, and the basic keyword here is number one, the philosophy of Indian polity, and second keyword here is preamble of Indian constitution. So basically what you have to do is you have to link these two ideas, how philosophy of Indian constitution is derived from the preamble. So the first thing that we're going to talk about in our introduction is again those two elements. Remember, I talked about two keywords here, one was philosophy and one was preamble. So we're going to deal with both of them in the introduction. We're going to first talk about what is meant by philosophy of the constitution. What is this idea? What is the basic key element behind this? Because see, a lot of time the constitution is actually linked to the idea of that it is related to laws. But that is not true. Constitution also talks about values. Constitution also talks about morality. It talks about ideals. It talks about elements like equality. So that is what is the idea of philosophy behind any constitution. So that is the element you have to talk about in your introduction. And second thing what you're going to do here is you're going to give me a brief introduction about what is preamble. So that is pretty much covered in your Lakshmikant, so you should be comfortable with that. The second portion here is your body. Now we're going to directly talk about the basic question, that was the demand, and we're going to talk about this particular idea. We're going to where we're going to talk about what all philosophies are derived from the preamble very comprehensively. What you can do here is you can subdivide this body into multiple portions. Like you can talk about how individual freedom as a philosophy is derived from our preamble in the constitution. The idea of secularism, how it is derived from preamble. Social justice, you can also talk about economic and political justice if you want. Also respect for minority rights. You can also talk about ideas of liberty. You can talk about ideas of universal brotherhood. So a lot of different ideas, a lot of different philosophies are there mentioned in the preamble. Pick up these terms, subdivide it and properly present it in your body. This was the basic question and you should deal it with in detail. And then what you can do is you can conclude your answer by talking about what is the relevance of preamble in present times. So times of when the constitution was made was pretty different from today. But certain core values, I think that is what Supreme Court, when it gave judgment in Keshav Nanda Bharti case, it said that certain core values of constitution was pretty much relevant in that era and is also pretty much relevant in today's era. So the idea of relevance and that continuity still continues. So you can talk about that current relevance of preamble and what we can learn from it, how it can be imbibed both in our legislations, in our policy making and even in our judicial pronouncements. So that kind of application you can talk about in your conclusion, and I think that does it for this particular question. Pretty easy. All you have to do is make sure that you remember the terms with respect to preamble. If you forget that, then you might lose marks in this particular question, right? So let's look at the second question. So this question, separation of power, is basically derived from the first topic, that is salient features of the Indian constitution. So the question here is, separation of powers is essential to ensure individual liberty. discuss this with regard to the provision in the Constitution and practices adopted so far. So pretty comprehensive question, a lot of different elements that you have to talk about here. Number one, you have to underline the term separation of power. That is the keyword here. Second keyword here is individual liberty. So basically what the question or the statement is doing here is saying you that the separation of power as an element or as a philosophy is something that also ensures individual liberty. Usually what we do is we link separation of power with the idea of checks and balances that is created upon the three major branches of any government. So, but other than that, what we forget or tend to not recognize is that this checks and balances that we're talking about will also have certain implication upon the individual liberty and freedom. So that is the link that you have to talk about in this question, and that can be done both from the provisions that are there in the Constitution, like there are certain provisions in the Constitution which ensure separation of power. Those are there, and also certain practices that we've adopted through our amendments, through our judicial pronouncements, all those ideas through which separation of power ensures the individual liberty. So let us look at the introduction that we can write. So number one, what we can do is we can define what is separation of power. You can do it in a simple term. If you're aware about the Montesquieu definition of this separation of power, you can bring in that element also, completely dependent upon you, whatever your comfort zone is. Then what you can do is talk about the constitutional provisions. So we have Article 50, which says that judiciary should be separated from executives. So that is an important constitutional provisions. We have 121, 211, that is again judiciary and legislature should be separated, that kind of idea. Then we have 122 and 212, parliamentary authority talks about. Then 361, again that is the executive element. So these are basic constitutional provisions which can be linked to the idea of separation of power, and you should mention it in the answer, otherwise you might lose marks. This is a very important thing. Next is your body. Now in the body we are talking about how the separation of power ensures individual liberty. So this was the basic statement, right? That was the first thing that I discussed in the question. So this is the basic statement. What you can do is you can divide this particular argument into two portions. From the constitutional provisions, how certain constitutional provisions of separation of power ensure individual liberty, and then you can talk about practices over the time that we've adopted also ensures individual liberty with respect to separation of power, right? So when we're talking about constitutional provisions, then there are certain provisions like judicial review is one thing that has ensured that separation of power is kept intact, right? Also when we're talking about how judiciary should be separated from executive, so that element also ensures individual liberty, because what here is happening is we're ensuring the independence of judiciary. So judiciary can create a certain kind of check on the executives, and they are doing that on a lot of different elements, even with respect to parliament, with respect to legislations, the through judicial review and other judicial pronouncement, judiciary has been able to create an intact a protection to ensure individual liberty is not at loss. Like we've had cases like the recent one where we talked about privacy rights of the individuals. That was important. Freedom of speech, we've always had judgments regarding that. So a lot of different individual liberty have been protected through constitutional measures. Practices adopted, again you can bring in certain cases here. You can talk about Keshav Nanda Bharti case here. You can talk about Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case. In that particular case, actually judiciary said that separation of power is not very rigid like that is there in the American Constitution, but it's a very broader interpretation that has been provided. So that broader interpretation in fact allows you to protect the individual liberty, and that is what happened in that particular case. So bring in that aspects of activism, bring in those different ideas over the time that have been adopted, right? So you can talk about these ideas. Then we have your issues with respect to separation of power. Bring in that element also. You can talk about overlaps, like you can talk about administrative lawmaking. That is an overlap. You can talk about the ordinance use, too much use of the ordinance power. You can talk about that. You can talk about a recent case of NJC where judiciary has been saying that the independence of judiciary at stake. So that basically brings down the idea of separation of power. So a lot of different issues have been cropping up in the Indian constitution, in the Indian polity with respect to separation of power. So bring in that element also. I think that will add an innovation in your body. So the first portion, separation of power, how it ensures individual liberty, is important. That is like the basic thing that should be there in your answer. And the next portion is where we're talking about some issues, is another innovation that you can add to your body. Finally, what you can do is you can conclude your answer again with a balanced approach. Because see, separation of power as a concept, like judiciary said before, cannot be very rigid in the Indian polity. So we need certain kind of flexibilities that are given here, because already you can see that legislature and executive have a lot of different overlap with respect to this power. So the independence of judiciary is very important, and I think we need to ensure that, and again make sure that you provide a way forward with respect to separation of power. Like how should separation of power as a concept be carried in future to ensure that there are checks and balances, right? As well as to ensure that individual liberty is not at stake. So that kind of balanced approach should be there in your conclusion, and I think that would conclude this particular answer. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do register to the link that has been provided in the description box, that is the Samanvaya form, and through that what you can do is you can get access to a lot of study material with respect to UPSC preparation, and that might help in your preparation. So all the best, and thank you so much.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civils Daily.